Namaste yogis, welcome into practice. Now wherever you are right now, stay exactly as you are. Except maybe if you're Gus here who's literally climbing all on top of me. However you've arrived is the best place to be today. If you're lying down, stay lying down. If you're sitting, stay seated. Or if you would like to get yourself closer to the floor, do so as a way to help you settle into the space today. Now today's practice is a practice that's going to essentially take a lot of the energy that we have, and regardless of what time of the day you're practicing, is take a lot of the extra energy that you have and repurpose it into good intention. Now, if you're anything like Gus here on the mat who's chasing his tail and running around like a maniac, there's a part of that lives within us all. And it doesn't necessarily need to be physical erraticness. It can just be your brain running off into different circles. It can be parts of you that feel a little bit at ends. And one of the beautiful things about a yoga practice is putting yourself in the best position to take all of that extra energy and repurpose it for good. And good is simply about putting it in a position and in a sequence that allows us to make it make sense for the needs of our day. And so being on the floor or being in your seat, all I'd like you to do is close your eyes down for a moment. And as you settle in, if you'd like to shift lower to the floor, you're welcome to. Or if you're settled in the seat that you're in, just notice how simply closing the eyes down can offer potentially a little bit more of a withdrawal from the outwardness. And we can do that by signaling the inwardness by using the breath to pull our attention into the body. So take a nice full breath in and a long breath out. And I often find that in the practice, when the mind becomes a little bit wandering, erratic, a little bit scattered at times, not to say that's you today, but it is the acknowledgement that if that is the case, or when that is the case, the best way to do is to get back into the body, to get yourself back onto the mat and back into your hands and feet, and to move on purpose. There's a lot of times in the conversation of yoga where it's all about the quietness, the softness, rounding the edges. But there's also a necessary need to move on purpose, to put yourself into effort that creates focus. And so let that be this practice today as we allow ourselves to move on purpose. So wherever you are, take one last full breath in here and a long breath out. And then to find your way, please, into a downward facing dog. And so it can feel like a long way to go if you're on the floor and we don't necessarily have a gentle awakening. What I want you to do is to shift into a place in which the body can be intentionally and active. And to find your feet and your hands in your first downward facing dog with whatever means necessary. Whether it's a bending of the knees, pedaling of the feet, bending and a wrapping, all I want you to do is to move with a little bit more intention where the body can be a little bit more alert and awake. And I'll be dead honest today. This is probably the first time I'm moving around today. I've been kind of running around doing errands, doing a lot of work at the computer, just kind of getting stuff in order. And so this is the first time I'm moving on purpose. And so the body can feel a little bit tight and a little bit less attentive. And so I want to go through my basic checklist, ground the hands, get myself into the body. Take a big breath in, long breath out. And here's a few helpful things I like to do. Inhale, lift your heels as high as they go. Exhale, bend the knees, slide the tailbone back. And your heels will soften. Inhale, heels go high. Bend the knees, tilt the tailbone back. So you're making these little circles of the lower half of your body. Inhale high, bend the knees, scoop tailbone back. Inhale high, bend the knees, scoop the tailbone back. Good. Float through to plank pose, breathe in. Put your knees down as you breathe out. Good. And then just take a few shoulder rolls. You can do cat-cows, I don't mind, but I just want you to be a little bit more intentional of getting the body into action. So call it a cat-cow if you want, calling it a rolling of the shoulders. But what I want you to do is start to explore how the body can get longer, how the body can have a little bit more space. All right, so find yourself into a tabletop position and then take your feet, tuck your toes, lift them up to your bum, and then take them off the left side of your mat. Take the hips back like it's a child's pose, and then bring everything forward. Just do that a few times. Shouldn't feel too strenuous, but it does take you off your center midline. Good, bring your heels back up, take them to the right side. Good, and all you're doing is just starting to establish the way in which you can find a little bit more symmetry, but we're moving on purpose here. Inhale, lift the heels, come back to a tabletop position. Lift your right heel back, send your left arm forward, breathe all the way in, and then curl it in. Good. When you curl it in, grab the base of your knee, lift your hip higher, arch the spine, and then send it out. So it's not just elbow to knee, it's really creating that curling and lifting. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Send that right leg back. Come back to a tabletop shape and then circle that right hip out to the side. Good. And start to notice where the space can be. Right? Think about this practice a little bit like a checklist for the body. Can we work through all the pieces that allow us to touch every part of the body in a necessary way? Good. As you bring that right leg up and out to the side, extend the right leg, send it out 90 degrees, put the foot down, and then take the hips back and forward. Good. As you start to grease the wheels here into the inseam of that right leg, you might want to take your hands a bit further forward. And so now as you start to move it back, it becomes a version of child's pose with the leg out to the side. Inhale, you bring it forward. Exhale, you take it back. Good. Inhale, you bring it forward. Exhale, you take it back. Now stay in the back position and see if you can find more space. I like to come under the fingertips so I get that lengthening, that lowering of the chest and that opening in the shoulders. See how that feels? Ground to the outside edge of that right foot, yeah? And start to feel almost like a gracefulness to that front body opening. Let's just call this a version or a variation of a puppy pose. Good, slide yourself back up through a tabletop position. Bring your right leg up and take it to the front so you're in a lizard lunge shape or a long box split. Beautiful. Rock your hips a little bit forward and back. Keep your knee closed though for the moment. And all I'm really trying to do is systematically work through the lower half of the body to create a bit of space. If you want this today, you can lift that back left knee and create that rocking action and just notice and see how that feels. If that's too much, push the left knee back on the floor and just keep that rocking action. Wonderful. Big breath in. Long exhale. Now what I want you to do from here is structure your hands into the floor and just step back to plank pose. It can feel like a long way to go, but structure the plank as you take a full inhale in, please, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. 1, 2, 3. Take a forward fold and just let the body lengthen. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Place your hands on top of the head, so widen out the elbows, and then exhale, fold. And just feel how you can get a longer line in the body. This doesn't have a very direct posture attached to it. What I'm doing right now, just very honestly, I'm looking for where I can create space. Sometimes it's a little bounce. Sometimes it's a little turn. You don't really know where the space is going to open up until you go investigate. Good. Crawl yourself back out to a plank. Take a full breath in. Place your knees down if you'd like, chaturanga all the way to the floor. Cobra pose, lift and draw the shoulders down. Downward facing dog, exhale. Wonderful. Tabletop, second side, please. Start to move that left hip open. And then send that left heel back. Lift the right leg, right arm forward. Take a big breath in. Exhale, curl knee to nose. Lift that knee, lift the hips. Inhale, send it out. Exhale, curl it in. I know some of you caught that I did that wrong, but now we're back on track. Good job. Exhale. Inhale, send it out. Exhale, tabletop. Left leg now takes those left hip circles. One of the things I hate's a strong word, dislike, is when a teacher forgets the sequence or gets something wrong and then they try to gaslight you like they did it on purpose. Yeah, I just forgot. Such is life. But now we're here and all working the same action, same series of effort. Left leg now goes out to the left, 90 degrees. You're essentially in a parigasana, gate-shaped legs. And then just start to take a few rocks back and forth. What I like to do before I send my hands long is just work the hips back to start to move and open the space. And just notice how that feels for you today. And then if you want, you can take the hands forward, and that's going to deepen the stretch. You might find the left leg needs a bit more space to slide out, maybe not. And depending on how much space you have in that left inner seam, as you go into the back position, you might want to let the heart melt down, but there might not be as much space. And remember, the sides don't need to match. Big breath in. Long breath out. Good. Inhale, come all the way back through tabletop position. Place that left foot into the lunge shape at the top. And then take a few little rocks back and forth. Big inhale in. Long exhale out. If you want, you can always pick up that back right knee, start to move a little bit deeper into that action. Now the lower half has been touched, moved, and the necessary parts of warm-up start to put us in a position to flow. Good. When you're ready, step this back to a plank position. Take a big breath in. Chaturanga Dandasana, Cobra pose again. Release to the floor. Inhale, breathe up. And then a release to the earth. Plant your hands, plug your toes, press to plank pose, please. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, take a long halfway lift. Let the hands dangle or glide. And then bow forward. Inhale, unroll yourself all the way to standing. Reach and rise everything up towards the sky. And then exhale, hands to heart center. You stay where you are, I'm just facing forward. It's funny, when I first started practicing, 20 odd years ago, this is where the practice would start. This is where we would start the intention. You'd set your sankalpa here. You do your opening om here. After the body has arrived, those first 5-10 minutes of practice are very much the integration, the part of when we arrive and now we're here. It's kind of like in a movie where they don't actually put the title of the movie on screen until 5-10 minutes in because they want you to arrive. And so here, now that you stand in this shape, in this steadiness, the practice becomes a little bit more clear and on purpose. So for old school's sake, let's do one om together. If you'd like, take a full breath in with me. Om. Not sure why, but these days we seem to have lost that opening om, that calling in of the attention. Maybe this is a little invitation to bring it back. Let's begin. On your next inhale, sweep your hands to the sky. Full in, long spine, big breath. Bow forward as you exhale. Take a halfway lift as you lengthen your spine forward, and then step back to plank pose. Hover in plank pose for just a moment. Lift your right leg so you float, three-legged plank. Take a big breath in, please. Downward facing dog, take that right leg to the sky. So notice your right leg the whole time of this movement because I want it to be active and not dangling. Inhale, come back to plank. Take a big breath in. Exhale, knee to nose like a cat. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, three-legged dog. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, cat. Inhale, three-legged plank. Chaturanga. Put the foot down. Inhale, cobra pose, rise. Flip the left foot, three-legged plank, straight up to the sky. So it's asymmetrical sun A's. Try that again. Inhale, plank. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, three-legged dog. That's the first half. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, curl like a cat. See how my foot's active the whole time. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Right foot goes down. Inhale, cobra. Flip the left foot. Right foot is off the ground. Straight away, three-legged plank. Good. Step that right foot to lunge. Inhale, hands to the sky. Breathe all the way in. Exhale, reach all the way back, diagonal lunge. Inhale, stand up, left knee to the sky. Left knee. Exhale, warrior three. Inhale, step back, crescent. Three-legged dog. Good. So you're in three-legged dog and pause there for a moment. And just notice what I'm doing is I'm building and stacking an asymmetrical sun salutation on you. It's movement on purpose because I need you to break the mold of how you typically warm the body through just mindless chaturangas. Let's do that one more time. Three-legged dog in the sky. Here we go. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, three-legged cat. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, three-legged dog. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, three-legged cat. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, up dog. Flip the left foot, three-legged dog. Inhale here. Exhale, step lunge. Inhale. Exhale, diagonal lunge. Inhale, stand up, left knee. Exhale, warrior three. Inhale, crescent. Three-legged dog. Good. Downward facing dog. Big breath in. Long breath out. And just notice how that builds and flows. We're just doing this right side. We're going to do the right side one more time before the left side. This practice isn't long today, but it's impactful because we're moving on purpose. We're getting the body into action. And in many ways, we're putting ourselves back into symmetry. It's tiring at times too, isn't it? All right, right leg to the sky, please. Inhale. Exhale, three-legged plank. Inhale here. Curl like a cat. Inhale here. Exhale, three-legged dog. First half. Inhale, plank. Exhale, curl like a cat. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, up dog. Flip the left foot, downward facing dog. Stay here, breathe in. Exhale, step. Inhale, hands. Diagonal lunge. We're all on that one side symmetry. Inhale, stand, control your flow. Exhale, warrior three. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, three-legged downward facing dog. Down dog, breathe in. Exhale, breathe out. Does it translate left? Let's see. Inhale. Exhale, three-legged plank. Breathe in. Curl like a cat. Inhale, plank. Pull it back, dog. Active left foot, active. Don't let it hang. Inhale. Curl. Inhale. Chaturanga. Left foot down. Upward facing dog. Tuck your right foot. Left foot off the ground. 2 more rounds. Breathe in. Exhale, plank. Hold the breath. Inhale. Curl. Can you put it in the body so it's intentional? Down dog. Exhale. 3-legged plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Left foot. 3-legged dog. Last time through. Breathing in. Exhale, 3-legged plank. Inhale. Curl. Inhale, 3-legged plank. 3-legged dog. Inhale, 3-legged plank. Exhale, curl. Inhale, 3-legged plank. Oh, this is miserable. Exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Put the right foot. 3-legged dog. Downward facing dog. Drop your knees. Rest. Child's pose if you need your forehead down. And just notice. I notice that my breath is rising. My heart rate is lifting. My ego is talking. And it becomes the effort of the practice. The flow of the practice. My job in yoga is to remove myself from the wants and the desires of the practice. From the temptation or the expectation. And to just be within it. Some days we feel strong, some days we don't. Some days we feel right on the edge of attention. Others of us are already wandered off to a million other places. And so the yoga for me is the effort and the stillness. The action and the return. The engagement and the awareness. Wherever you are, sit yourself back up onto your heels. Lift yourself up and tuck your toes for a moment and sit back. And go ahead and grab a block. So you have a block to hand. If you have 2 blocks, I'll give you 2 options. So if you have 2 blocks, take one of the blocks and place it under your knees. So it's a little bit higher for you. Yeah? If you only have 1 block, keep the block in your hands. So here's what I'd like you to do. The one under your knees is going to help alleviate the opening of the toes. And I'll do this facing forward. If you are someone who wants a deeper stretch or opening of the feet, don't worry about the block under your knees. This helps soften. With this other block, I'd like you to bring the block up towards your chest and interlace your hands around the base of the block, placing the thumb and the pinky outside the block so you can literally grip it. And then take this block and take it over your head and just live here just for about a minute or so. Eyes closed. Soften the breath. And notice where the sensation rises. In certain styles of practice, this becomes an intentional point of split attention. Some of your attention for some of you is going to be more on your toes. Others of you, it's going to be on your arms and your shoulders. The yogi has to live in both places and neither place. To recognize the sensations that draw us away and also withdraw us from those sensations back to the breath. We always talk about the breath as a tool for regulation, but it also is a signpost back to awareness. We're only here for another 10, 20 seconds. And this in its own right is moving on purpose because we're not moving on purpose. We're allowing ourselves to almost ping pong back and forth between our toes and our shoulders or our hands, and just see if our awareness or attention can be still into the breath. Let's keep this simple. 3 breaths together. Breathe all the way in. And breathe all the way out. Breathe all the way in. Breathe all the way out. Last one. Breathe all the way in. Breathe all the way out. And then bring your hands down. Remove the block. Tabletop position. Tap your feet if you need to tap your feet. You've done a great job. It's not the easiest thing to hold that block up there. Meet me in downward facing dog. Take a full breath in, please. And a long breath out. Walk yourself to the top of the mat. Take a halfway lift so there's space back in the spine, space back in the feet. And then fold. And then take a chair pose to recalibrate. And then rise to stand. So for those of you who aren't familiar as much as this, where we often call hands at the heart center Tadasana, this is a version of Tadasana called Samastiti. Samastiti is the qualities of the Tadasana, the steadiness, the return to the connection. So when we come back to here, Samastiti is to return to the qualities, the steadiness, the stillness, not just to make the shape of a mountain. We okay? Let's move on. I'll do it facing forward. You stay where you are. Go ahead and lift your right leg towards your chest. Grab a hold of the knee from the outside. Point the right toes and then flex them. Point them and then flex them. Point them, flex them. Good. And then go ahead and see now if you can loosen the grip of the knee, keeping the leg where it is. And then taking this right hand, sliding it up to the top of the right thigh, push that thigh bone down as you resist it up. Good, so see how my right shoulder is gonna hike up? Because I'm pushing it down. Now as I do this, I wanna take a full breath in, keep that pushing engagement. So my thigh bone is still pushing against my hand, even though as I take it back to a warrior 3. Good. And I want to keep bringing it back up. So push the hand all the way. Push the hand all the way, all the way, all the way. Exhale, take it back. Push, push, push. My leg's still pushing up even though I'm moving back. One more time. Inhale, stand. Push, 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 push. And then return to the feet. What that shows us is there's this contracting action. As you engage, even though you're moving in opposite direction, it can create a form of stability. Do that with the second leg just so you can feel the same. Left leg rises, set it up. Take your left hand to the top of your left thigh. Breathe all the way in. Push, 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 push. Send it back. Move it on purpose. Now inhale, bring it forward. Push that hand into the thigh the whole way, the whole way, the whole way, the whole way. And then take it back. Push it, push it, push it, push it, push it. Push, 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 warrior 3. And bring it back. Up, up, up. And then put your foot down, rest. I promise, we're getting somewhere. Stay with me. Good. Right leg back up. Now we know that pushing of the top leg. Now the second part is your left hand is going to push on the bottom of your left thigh, down here. So watch me doing the first one. I'm pushing, 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 pushing. And then as I slide my leg past my thighs, now I'm pushing the left quad. Bottom, bottom, bottom. Lifting my chest like cobra pose. So what this becomes, it's a 2-part structured supported warrior 3. Inhale, rise. Stand. It should make it a lot steadier. Try this second side. Left leg. Top of the thigh bone of the lifted leg. Exhale. As the thighs pass, place your right palm on the bottom of your right femur bone. Push, 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 push. See how stable that becomes? Inhale, rise. Push, 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 push. And stand. So this is the big difference, and this is the one way to think about it. It's like when you're swimming. If you just let your legs dangle in the water while your arms are moving, they just kind of fall and sink down. If you're kicking your leg or doing an action with your leg, it becomes part of the movement. So here's what I want you to do now. Speed this up a little bit. Watch me or do it with me. Inhale, right leg. Exhale, warrior three. Inhale, right leg. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, reverse. Right? Exhale, extended side angle. Lift that back right heel, so now I'm facing forward. Hand on the quad. Warrior three. Stand up. Return. Now see if you can do that and smooth it out. I'll do it one more time and then we're going to flow it together. We'll do the opposite side. Left leg goes up, hand at the hip. Step it back, hand on the right. Good. Step that foot back. Reverse warrior. So now we break the shape. Extended side angle. Preparation. Lift that back left heel. Now we're sagittal. Ground through that front one. Anchor through the back. Stand up. And what you should find is the transitional stability is a lot more intentional. You're moving on purpose. Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. One more time. Watch me if you need to. Now this is what we make. We smooth it out. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Anchor. Inhale, exhale. Stay low. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, extended side angle. Lift that left heel. Anchor. Inhale. Stand. It's almost like keeping the body in a closer ball, a tighter shape. And I want you to do that same sequence, and then we're going to build on it one more time. So do it with me if you'd like. Start low like a half chair. Inhale, right knee, press the thigh bone away. Exhale, take it back. Warrior three. Step lunge, reverse. Extended side angle. Lift that back right heel. Now stand up. Stay low. Eagle pose, cross. So you're still pressing on this thigh. Where does this left hand go? Shin. So I want you to press against the shin. Breathe. It's wobbly, it's wobbly. And then lift the chest. The top half's asymmetrical, totally fine. And then return to standing. All right. So if you're wondering here, you can see the detail. My bottom hand shifts, instead of to this top of the thigh, here to the quad. I'm drawing the quad down, right? I'm engaging it out. Does that make sense? So if you look at it, I look a bit funky, but I look like this. Okay, let's do the second side. Left knee comes up. Top quad, engage. So stability through motion. Reverse. Extended side angle. Lift that back left heel. Anchor here is the critical part. Lift, rise. Slot it, eagle pose, legs. And straight away my arms have something to connect to. I lift away from. I'm anchoring. And it feels a lot more stable. One more full breath in. Long exhale. Inhale, release. Exhale, fold. Shake it out. I'm a big traditionalist in the practice. There's a lot of value in traditional postures and sequencing, but there's a whole lot of value in modern understanding, application, breaking the dogma. You have to find your way through, snake it through. Let's just kind of loosen it all out. Inhale, hands go up. Exhale, fold. Take a halfway lift, please. Step back through plank pose. Downward facing dog. Big breath in. Long breath out. Jump or walk forward onto your lap. Cross your ankles, sit back onto your heels. Take a block with you, sit on the block, send your legs forward. Let's take a fold, please. You can do it with straight legs or bent knees. Both is totally fine. Having yourself on a block turns the hips forward. What that does, it allows the shape to create a postural tilt, an anterior tilt, where the pelvis moves more aligned over the thighs. You can take a more dynamic fold, or you can take a nice, long, passive fold. And having the body in position and doing a passive fold, you get the benefit of the head curling down, the chest curling over, and the body having the space. Just live here for a few breaths. This practice for me is really built on the space and the opportunity that we have to find an intentional movement that helps us. I was having a conversation earlier today about why do people come to yoga these days? I don't know. But I do know that when I come to the practice, I do want to move, and I do want to open, and I do want to recalibrate. And I think we have a responsibility to all of that. It can't just be softening. It can't just be hardening. Right? It's like a Cadbury cream egg. It has to be, I don't know where I'm going with this. Something gooey on the inside, but crunchy on the outside. Whatever. So roll yourself back up. Okay, let's take a twist here on a block seated position. Bend your right knee. So right knee draws in for a version of Marichyasana. And before you take the right leg over, what I want you to do is, first things first, lean back enough so you can reset. And then when you lean forward, use your hands, lift your seat and tuck the tailbone back. See what I did there? I tuck the tailbone back. And straight away that turns my pelvis into a forward position. Then my right leg's gonna go up and over. If I need to, I'm gonna lift and tuck. And then I can stay here, or this left knee can bend and come underneath. Now, as I sit a little bit taller, I'm gonna take a full breath in here. Long exhale. Left arm goes up, and first I side bend. Let me turn forward, this might be helpful. First, I'm gonna side bend. Side bend's gonna create space. And as I side bend, then I'm gonna lift back up, and then I'm gonna lateral twist, and then hook my elbow. Big breath in. Long breath out. That side bend for me helps to create a lot of space to allow that twist to come into the body. Good, and then as I unwind, I'm not gonna unwind completely. I'm gonna unwind back to neutral, and then I'm gonna reshift my legs here to double pigeon. I'm already on the block. I might need to lift, scoot, but now I'm set up for a fold here. And for me, a lot of times, I really like the Ardha Matsyendrasana twist, the half twist before a double pigeon, because it almost prepares and signals to the legs that there's activity coming, right? Double pigeon is a deeper fold for a lot of us. And it doesn't need to look like this. You don't need to be shin to shin. This isn't just yoga. This is Asian body type. This is sitting on the floor growing up. This is shallow hip sockets, space and range. This is just, I won the hips lottery where my hips do hippie things in yoga. This is not just because I have a mastery of technique. Remember, the yoga practice as a whole is for everybody. Not every posture is going to suit your body to look a certain way, nor does it need to. What we're looking for is an anterior tilt of the pelvis, a descending of the femur bone, and a folding. So what looks like this for me could just as easily look like this for you and do the exact same thing. Just be aware of that. Know that. Own that. Gotta take a big breath in, and then release your legs. Sometimes I like to release to Baddha Konasana. That can feel nice, or you can release to Upavishta Konasana. And I'd like you to take a fold in either of those positions. Upavishta Konasana in a fold or Baddha Konasana. I'm gonna do Upavishta because my legs are here. I'm on the block, I'm gonna reset my seat, shuffle my seat back, and then take a fold. Now let me tell you something very honestly. This is the depth of my Upavishta Konasana fold. This is what it looks like after 25 plus years of yoga. It's not chest to the floor. It's not anything more glamorous, but it's sure as hell lengthening out my hamstrings. And if I flex my toes and I slightly externally rotate them with a slight bend in the knees, I can really feel that fire completely. That's more than enough for me. I'd rather create intention into the posture, target the stretch of the posture, than get a picture with my chest on the floor. There's no extra yoga points for that. Good. Sit yourself back up. Help your legs back in. Set up for the second side. So legs go long. What is it? Left leg bends up and over. Reset your seat. Shuffle the hips back. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Take that right leg under. Now remember as well, before you twist, take a side bend. Up and over for space. Back through the middle. Twist. Ardha Matsyendrasana. You will find one side feels more twisty than the other. That's just the nature of being human. It won't match. My right side's far more open and twisty than my left side, mainly because of the shape of my spine and how my pelvis tilts. And for those of you who are long-term lifers in your practice, as in you've done yoga for a while, you teach yoga, it will really benefit you at some point to make an appointment to see a chiro or an osteo and get an understanding of how your spine and your pelvis sits. If you have access to an x-ray, that's really helpful. But what you're doing is noticing what your base structure is and then how to practice because of it. My left pelvis is slightly higher and slightly back. So it creates more compression on my left side and less openness, slightly tilted and forward. That means it doesn't open as much as my right side. And my right side, because it's back and down, this right leg goes to town. Does that make sense? If not, send me a message. We'll talk about it. All right, shuffle back forward. Double pigeon. Agni Stambhasana. Fire log pose. Agni fire. Stamba. Stamba being log. So this is the pose that creates the heat. Breathe in. Make sure your pelvis is back and anteriorly tilted. Fold. I feel like I'm dropping you a lot of winners today. Part of these practices, especially in this format where they're live practices, we practice with certain intention. And then my hope or my aim is just to offer you some of the insights that I picked up along the way, seeing what comes out that might be helpful. This for me was always one of the most helpful tools that I had growing up as a baby yoga teacher or early on in my yoga life, is just spending time with teachers that I thought had interesting or insightful things to say, and just going to class enough where whatever they just share is worth picking up and listening to. And not that everything I have to say is valuable, might not be for you, but you can't necessarily pre-plan all of the things that you want to say. Sometimes it's allowing the practice to unfold when you're teaching as well. And so while I always have an intention with the practice and a sequence that I want to build, I'm also allowing what we consider letting the wisdom pass through, letting the insights come out, letting the sparks of inspiration connect and then share. Good. As you come back to a seated position, Baddha Konasana or Upavishta Konasana. I forget who it was, because I think it's important to always mention the names of people who have inspired you, but I can't remember. I think it's important to remember that after you're released from bigger poses, like a double pigeon, a little movement is always going to help. Whether that's sitting up and flapping the legs, a wiggle or two. Going from long static to another long static doesn't allow the space to kind of find its way back. Right? It's kind of like that thing after you say, not that it's exactly the same, but after you say went on a big overseas flight, and then you have to get off the flight and get into like a 2-hour taxi, that can feel quite restless, that second leg. And so having a little space to shake it out, walk around before you do that second long stint can be such a valuable reset to get the value out of the necessary second leg. Second leg of the journey, second leg of the posture. See how that worked? I'm in a room by myself. I think it's funny. Well, Gus thinks it's funny. It's okay if you don't. Take one more breath wherever you are. Long exhale out. And then as you come up and off the seat of your block, take yourself and return yourself down to the floor in a constructed rest position and take a moment for yourself. I find after a practice like this, a twist is really nice. A stretching a leg or a bicycling of the leg. But before you put yourself down completely, I'd like you to invert something up. So for ease, legs up, hips on a block. Actually, while we're here, I'll tell you a funny little trick that I've picked up somewhere along the way. I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. Whenever I do hips on a block, I never put the block down flat. Can you see that? For some reason, it just digs into the back of my pelvis in a way that's not comfortable. And I always just stand it up very slightly on the edge. So it's almost like I'm sitting on the block, but on the corner of the block. I've always found this as the comfortable seat for my seated inversion. And again, I don't know where I picked this up, but I find that whenever I tell people, they find it interesting. So I thought I'd share with you today. And you take a moment to let the blood recirculate in a different direction. But you're also signaling to the body that we're returning ourselves back into a steady state. And it might be nice to put your arms in a position where it kind of feels comfortable, spacious. Right on cue, when you find the spot, your rest responsible trigger, your parasympathetic, might signal settlement. And that usually means a sigh, a yawn, a swallow. And that usually comes when the body is at rest. Of course, if you want to stay here longer, you do so, or you can slide the block out and you return the legs to the floor for Shavasana. And I'm going to sit up here just so I can be with you, but you find the space in which you want to have a moment or two at ease. I think this day and age, as the practice of yoga becomes far more available, there also is a need for us all individually to find the types of practices and the teachers that we connect with. In many ways, my job as a teacher isn't to convince you that this class works for you, that this class is interesting for you. That's not my job. My job is to share a practice that's authentic to me, to share a practice that makes sense to me, to share a practice that represents yoga for me. And if that works for you, wonderful. You are always welcome here. The doors are always open to practice with this community. But also, if it's not for you, or if it's not for you today or this week or this month, that's okay. Your job is to find the practices and the places and the people and the teachers that make coming to the mat worth it. There are a lot of things in our lives that we do because we know it's good for us. Like going to the gym, going for a run, going to Pilates, whatever it is. Yoga practice has a layer of sacredness, a magic per se, that I find is found in the relationship of the energies between the teacher and the state of how you are today as you're practicing. And so in this practice, maybe it worked for you today. Wonderful. If it didn't, wonderful. That just means now you know that this practice or this style of practice or this teacher practice might not be for you, and that's okay. I just want you to be in the practice of yoga, and I want you to find the way that the practice makes it worth it coming to the mat. Hope that makes sense. This is not me trying to push you away or pull you in. This is me, perhaps with my teacher hat on, trying to invite you into a practice where half of the responsibility is on you to find a practice that feels magical and sacred in some way or another for you. All right, friends, if you'd like to close the practice here, you're welcome to wiggle the fingers and the toes and find your way out and up into a seated position. If you're in a place where you're happy to stay longer, you do that. But nevertheless, as you draw your knees in, roll over and sit yourself up into a final seat, find the seat that works for you. Find a breath that settles you. And be within the feeling that we can get for a practice that was meaningful. Movement that we did on purpose. And if you'd like, you can bring your hands together at the center of the chest to close the practice. And we'll seal it in very simply with one breath and one Om. Take a deep inhale in. And an exhale. Inhale. Om. We honor the space of practice for all that it is, and we recognize that in this moment there is a sacredness to the movement that allows us this space we call yoga. And if you'd like, together we say, Namaste. Thank you all for practicing with me today. It was lovely to see you here. And it was really nice to kind of share this practice. And I hope it was valuable and meaningful for you in some way today.